Hello and welcome to another Pixel Maven project tutorial. This time we're exploring some watercolor wash backgrounds along with cover dies and sentiment strips. So we'll be using the Doodled Lace cover die from Altenew, and I already have that piece cut out for us, so we can just add that on when we're ready. And the sentiment strips come from the Sentiment Strips stamp set by Altenew. Yes, it's called Sentiment Strips. I mean, really, could you get any easier than that? So let's start off with the background so that way we can give that some time to dry. We'll be using some Arches 140-pound hot press watercolor, and it's because hot press paper will take lots and lots of water. So I have it on my Wendy Becky Make Art Station, so that way I can get it all wet and ready to go, and then just let it dry while we're working on the stamping. Okay, so right now in my little trays here, I have set up 4 colors from Altenew. These are using the re-inkers. So we've got Rubelite, Warm Sunshine, Citrus Burst, and Cotton Candy. And I put them in these little containers so that way I can add some water to them. I'm just going to add 1 drop to each right now so I can start diluting them just a little bit. And then we're going to spritz the paper with just a fine mist. And I've got my brush here, and I just wanted to kind of see how much water I had going on. So I'm just going to mist it a hair more. I don't want to go for a lot of mist right now because I want to make sure that it's not going to move too much to start with. So I'm just going to make some like ziggy zags and some splotches of color in different places. Nothing super concrete here, just totally random. Actually, I decided I want to go up there. And this piece is larger than the piece I'm going to need, so that way I can cut out the part that I really like when I'm done with it. And right now it looks really kind of specific, right? So I'm just going to add some more, getting some of this Rubelite around the cotton candy here. Just kind of moving everything around a little bit. And I'm going to just add a little bit more. Cotton candy really likes to move. And as you can see, when you're mixing the colors together, I'm starting to get kind of an orange in places, which is really kind of cool. So this is crazy enough. And that's actually going to be enough. Now I'm going to totally soak this. I'm actually done with those, I think. Soak this with water really well so that the color can really move around everywhere. And I feel like I need just a little more. I want to get rid of some of these rough lines that I have going on. So this is a fun freeform. You can see like this orange starting to pop up here. And this is just where the mess comes into play, and that's a-okay. So now that I have this whole mess basically is set up on my paper here, I can even add a little bit more water. I'm just going to totally set this aside and let some of the water dry on here and let it come into being what it wants to be. And this could take a while. So of course we'll fast forward through that and you'll see the finished product in a little bit. So while we're waiting for the background to dry, let's go ahead and do the sentiment strip. And I have a sentiment already set up on my stamp positioner. Of course, I'm using my trick with the Sizzix sticky sheets. I have my grids lined up to the grids here and on the cover, so that way when I stamp it, it all ends up in the right place. So that means, let me grab it here, that I can take a 1/4 inch strip of paper and just put it right where it needs to go. And it's going to stick to the Sizzix strip, which is fantastic. No magnets necessary. And then I can just go ahead and stamp my sentiment. And I thought I'd go with a sympathy card. I just used one that I had, so I always like to have one on hand and see how perfect that ends up being. So super simple. And my sentiment strip is basically ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the edge here. And then add a little bit of adhesive on the back so that way it's ready to go when the background is dry. So my background piece is all dry now, and I did use my heat tool to accelerate that a little bit. I've got some really nice water staining looks around here and great oranges and yellows and pinks from all of those ink colors that we used. It's a little crooked though, so, or warped I should say. So what I like to do with something like this is use this ginormous roll of scrapbook.com adhesive. It's the 4-inch roll. And what I'm going to do is just take a big chunk of it here and pop it on. This is going to help make sure that this whole piece adheres to the card base like it should. And actually this rips off. I can just do it like a big ginormous tear and tape, if you will. I'll just cut that off the edge there. And so now I have this already on the back side. And why I did it this way is so I can smooth this out really well. And then what I'm going to do is cut out my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece for the card using this scrapbook.com as a mark on the back. So any of this is going to look really quite amazing. But this way I make sure that I have as much adhesive as possible everywhere. And I don't have to try to get this aligned once it's done. So I'm going to go take care of that and I'll come back with the right size piece. We can do some assembly. All right, I'm back with all of my pieces ready to go and cut down. So I will start by adhering these two top pieces together and then we'll get them on the card base. So for the die cut piece, I really just need to make sure that the edges are going to sit and stick well. One place I'm trying to avoid is where the die has all these little cuts in it, because I don't want my glue to come through that little stitch detail. So I will add just a little bit of glue to all of these pieces here. I just want to make sure that all these little edge pieces stick down well. The nice thing about that is all of the little spider webbing you don't need to worry about because it's all in between and it will stick down just fine. Okay, so I didn't even really do this part here, don't need to. All right, so now I can just get this on here. And having the liquid glue gives me just a little bit of time to move things around a hair if I need to. And the reason I did it this way first, instead of putting things on the card and then trying to get it all to work, is that you can see that I have a little bit of some excess here. So I can go ahead and trim that off either with my trimmer or with some scissors. Since I have my scissors right here, I'll just take care of that real quick. I have a beautiful guide just using the die cut. Be careful if you're doing it this way, obviously do not cut into the die cut, right? Here we go. All right, so now this can just get adhered to the card base. And the great thing about this is it's just got this big adhesive strip. So I'm going to just pull back a little bit and get this all aligned, starting with the bottom where I can still move it around. So I'm going to get it into the corner here. And then make sure it comes up and then adhere at the top. And now I can lift gently, find my little piece in the back here, and lift and press, pull and press as I go. Now, isn't that just perfection and super easy to do? If you've ever had problems before with your watercolor paper warping, using that scrapbook.com ginormous adhesive works really, really well. All right, and then I just need to add on my sentiment strip, and we're good to go. I hope you enjoyed this project today, and it gives you some great ideas for projects of your own. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you get all sorts of great ideas and inspiration as I publish here weekly. Thanks for joining me today, and until next time, happy crafting.